What the hell is there to say about the impact that is Quake? It being one of the first in the first-person shooter genre to jump to 3D graphics, allowing for more complex movements not even Doom could do, despite having pretty damn similar gameplay. Even the modding scene that inspired a multiplayer franchise by Valve, yeah, not enough time to say why it's so influential. But for me, I want to talk about the Remastered, which released in 2021 by surprise by Night Dive Studios, Bethesda, and Xbox Game Studios, released on PC, PS4, Switch, and Xbox One, with PS5 and Xbox Series upgrades later that year. How does this remaster fare for this classic shooter? Let's find out. The story of Quake involves around a soldier known as Ranger as he takes on demonic forces influenced by H.P. Lovecraft. And that's it. Knowing how id John Carmack feels about stories in games, plot is simple, but it works. The gameplay of Quake, as if one hadn't guessed, is a first-person shooter, and among the first of its kind to be a full 3D game rather than damn near everything being sprite-based like other FPS before it, being Doom, Dark Forces, or even Duke 3D. Instead, the sprites are regulated to fiery explosions or bloody gore effects. Still, going from 2D sprites emulated 3D to actual 3D was nothing short of mind-blowing back then. And with this remaster, a lot of aspects that wouldn't hold up in modern context are tweaked. The biggest one are the controls, especially today where you kinda take for granted for either dual analog control or mouse look for first-person shooters. The original version of Quake could really only allow that if you hold down a button before you aim, which could be quite a cramp on your hand. Not in the remastered version though, as the mouse look and dual analog control are enabled right off the bat, so any new players willing to check out this classic will feel instantly at home. And, though I hate to say it as a console player, but the mouse and keyboard are the most natural with this game, as dual analog sticks for a game developed mainly for PC doesn't quite nail it. Don't get me wrong, it's playable on both the Switch and Xbox One, but the mouse and keyboard allow more room for reflexes needed for this particular game. And by that, I mean Quake uses its 3D gameplay, as you can jump and strafe in ways you couldn't in games like Doom, which are all needed as these are more reflex-based shooters than the likes of, say, Call of Duty or most other modern-day shooter today. Something that is quite a feat to pull on a controller in contrast to a mouse and keyboard. In addition, the remaster of Quake not only includes licensed expansion packs such as Scourge of Armageddon, Dissolution of Eternity, the 20th anniversary expansion pack Dimension of the Past, it also has a new expansion called Dimension of the Machine. Both of the latter expansions were developed by Machine Games of Wolfenstein Reboot fame. And that's not all. If you go to the downloads page in the main menu of the game, you can also find the N64 version of Quake, reverse engineered to be playable on PC, complete with N64 textures and everything. I never had that version. All my N64 shooting growing up involved either James Bond or Joanna Dark, so I couldn't tell you how it was. But above all, it's a cool addition. On to the sound, and initially, I did not know that the soundtrack of the base game was by Trent Reznor and Nine Inch Nails. In fact, that is Trent's voice as Ranger, but of course his industrial and horror sound, which is mainly ambiance, works really damn well here. But that's only for the base game. In the expansions, while you still hear Trent's voice, you hear other composers work with some music. While the N64 game included, of course, work from Aubrey Hodges from Doom 64, and his ambient sound definitely works well for Quake as well. But of course, we can't mention Quake without the multiplayer, which was so prolific, John Carmack was giving away cars at tournaments for prizes. Even on PC, you can play the remaster with other people either online or local split-screen multiplayer, which is nuts. You also got bots too in case you can't find anyone to play with you. And it has modes that are nowadays taken for granted with FPS games like Deathmatch and Capture the Flag, with the addition of other modes like Co-op and Horde mode that are still fun to play. In the end, especially in its remastered form, Quake remains a classic that should be played wherever you can, but especially on PC.